Welcome back. Dr. Ruben Valdez from Integrated Health Center of the Rockies is helping to change the lives for many type 2 diabetics, even reducing and eliminating the need for prescription medications and insulin. And Dr. Valdez shares details about the upcoming free diabetic dinner event that you're going to be having. And this is, I always love talking to you about this. I learned so much even just in the few minutes we have here.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about this. Type 2 diabetics, you know, they work so hard with diet and exercise, even medications, trying to get everything, the disease under control. Why do they struggle so much with something like this?
Yeah, it's really a terrible story to have to see and experience for these patients. They're diagnosed, which is a very devastating moment. In a 5 to 10 minute appointment, they're told they now have to lose weight, exercise, take medications, and that's the best that they can do to be able to manage or slow down a disease that's going to be devastating. Sadly, for the majority of these patients, they engage in their care plan. They try changing their diets, they try becoming more active, they try and comply with their medication recommendations, and yet most of them find themselves getting worse and worse and worse over time, finding themselves in a situation where they go back to their doctors asking for support, asking for help, and all that's done for them is just continue compounding and piling one medication on top of the other. As they come back and there's no improvement, they get yet another medication. Sometimes a patient that might start with a first-line defense, then they get cholesterol medication, blood pressure medication, on top of that higher and stronger medications for suppression of blood sugar, many of them ultimately reaching insulin. Sadly, there was a major study that looked at diabetes. It's called the DECODE study, followed 22,000 people, and it demonstrated that over 90% of people with diabetes will experience diabetic complications in their lifetime, regardless of being controlled diabetics.
So tell us how your approach is different. I'm sure lots of people are sitting here right now in our audience watching, wondering what you can do to help them.
Yeah, so it's really simple. Most of the treatment, most of the focus is geared at suppressing the symptom of diabetes, which is high blood sugar. However, very few approaches and treatments are actually designed at understanding the complexity of diabetes and going to the root cause of each patient's disease process. We now know there's 6 major subtypes to diabetes. They all should really be approached and treated differently, which is quite complex if the patient himself or herself doesn't have all the tools. Sadly, the majority of these patients are treated in exactly the same way. They go through the same sequence of medications, ultimately reaching the same levels of powerlessness and frustration.
So the number is 303-974-1087. Now this is for a free diabetic dinner event where you can learn more, just like Dr. Valdez was talking about. So now, is this something that you can actually reverse the disease?
Yes, ma'am. Type 2 diabetes is, in fact, a known reversible chronic condition. And so for the majority of our patients, we not only see their blood sugars moving back into a non-diabetic range, 85 to 99, their A1C moving back to a non-diabetic range, 5.7 or less. We also see them losing weight without exercise, walking away from prescription medication, even insulin sometimes, which is amazing to see. So for many of these patients, we have confirmation of the reversal not only through their subjective symptoms, but also through objective testing, through their lab work. And so it's really quite remarkable to see.
This is awesome. You've got to share a success story for us.
Absolutely. Easy one. Last night, I was sitting with one of my patients, Debbie, and she was showing me her blood sugar numbers. She's been with us for about 4.5 months, and her blood sugar numbers all were between 80 to 100. She confessed, she's like, "Doc, you know, every once in a while I'll have something that I'm not supposed to." And it's remarkable how it just stays right there where it needs to be. She's off all her prescription meds, just a completely different person, very excited and looking forward to her life.
Well, this just isn't a game changer. It's a life changer for many, many people. And you've got this wonderful book that Eddie's zeroing in on right now. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so the book, I wanted to be able to continue delivering this message and this mission because sadly, every single diabetic gets the same story. It's the same story over and over, and it's so heartbreaking to see the devastation. As one man in Denver, I felt very powerless in spreading this message, so I put a lot of my experience and knowledge into this book, and most of my patients get a copy of this book. People that attend our events get a copy of this book, and the feedback has been very positive. A lot of people have told me that it's changed the way they perceive their own diabetes and their own disease process.
303-974-1087, that's the number. I know you want to call that right now. Let's also talk about how quickly some people can maybe start seeing some difference in the results of the treatment.
Yeah, that's a great question. So for most patients, we start seeing improvement sometimes as quickly as their first week, 7 days. On average, 21 days in, we're seeing significant reduction in blood sugar averages, in fasting blood sugar levels, and for the majority of patients within the time frame of their care, they're going to see significant reversal in their blood sugar values.
This is so awesome. Dr. Valdez, always great having you here on our show with us today. Take a good look at that book, everybody. Call 303-974-1087 to learn how you can reserve a seat for Integrated Health's free diabetic dinner event. That's on October 23rd at 6 p.m. Now, seating is very limited, so again, the number right here is 303-974-1087. Integrated Health Center of the Rockies paid for this segment. Well, we've been giving